How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Lady Cocoa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to today's Learn New System webinar, where I am your host, Andrea Dickerson. I hope everybody's doing wonderful tonight. We do have a way of chatting with one another. There is a chat box here, and you all have already started saying hello. Please type in the chat box. If you own a child care center or if you own multiple child care centers, tell me what type of business you own so that I can know who's on with me tonight. Let's see. All right. Hello, Miss Wells. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our training tonight. Can you just please type in the chat, hello? All right, Lady Perkins, I see your hands raised up. Lady Cocoa, your hands is raised. I'm gonna allow you to talk. You're welcome to talk if you like. Maybe you were just saying,
Hello.
hey, Brandy, welcome to today's training today. Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to be talking about how to scale your childcare program. In the chat box, type what type of program you have. While you are typing, this is going to make sure that your audio is good. That means you can hear me. If you would just start typing in the type of childcare program you have. Also, it'll be a good time to test your reception. Make sure that you can hear me without any static. And then for those of you who are note takers like myself, this is a great time for you to grab pen and paper to get ready to take some notes because I'm going to share with you my simplest way of scaling your business. So if you're interested in looking for ways on how to scale your company, let me know in the chat what type of childcare program you have. I am allowing you all to talk as well. So if you want, you can just say hello. Hey, Alexis, how are you? You are welcome to say hello in the chat. All right, so we got childcare on the daycare. Can hear me well. All right, so typically when I start talking about scaling your company and going to the next level, the biggest piece is just to make sure there's no distraction, that you're full of focus and concentration because it's going to be a lot that's discussed tonight. So one of the things I like to do is to just get us started with communication because I'm really big on discussions and I'm really big on hearing you out. So I am allowing you all to speak as well. So if you want to say something, you're welcome to. But I have the first question of the night, and that is, would you rather hire a preschool or childcare or center director to improve your classrooms, or number two, would you rather have a training system that improves your classrooms? So you could type a one if you rather hire somebody, or type a two if you rather have a training system. Type that in the chat. Let me see who can. Okay, we got some number ones. Okay, all right. Hello, Miss Frazier. Hey, Mary, good to see you again. All right, who we got? Hey, Ashley. I'm letting you all speak tonight, so if you want, you can unmute your phone. If not, you can put it in the chat box. Would you rather hire a childcare director to improve your classrooms, or would you rather have a training system? Really think long and hard about that because neither one of them are the easiest. If you had a center director to help you improve your classrooms, if you hired somebody just for that, that's a big boss move, right? Or if you would rather have a training system that improves your program, that's a big boss move too. So whichever one you choose, put it in the chat box. I love open discussion. Let's see. So we got someone say, I need a training system. All right, Lady Cocoa says, I say both. LaShonda says, okay, she wants her own training system. Well, I do believe that both are necessary for us to be able to scale. Number one, you have to have the ability to hire someone who can help you improve your program. And then number two, in order for somebody to be able to help strengthen your program system, then they'll need to be trained. So honestly, I'll say we're going to need both. And so this training is for you if you recognize, like, I don't really know because I think I might need both, but I know I need to have that training system because just hiring somebody is something that I've always done and I'm not getting the results I want. And if that's something you're feeling tonight, then that is understandable because I've been there too. Well, hiring people don't just always give you what you want. So you do need that training system. And maybe you just need to understand how to have a more operating system, because sometimes we don't have the right layout and sometimes we don't have the right structure to be able to train people. All right. And so sometimes if you don't have anything written, if you don't know how to build a leadership team, if you never created that model that you use for training individuals, then I'm sure a lot that's where you are right now, where you could be stuck. But tonight we're going to talk about the reasons why I'm going to help you scale and improve your labor force, because scaling in this season, in this day and time, is not about information. There's a lot of information out there. I want to show my face tonight. So, hey guys, hey, okay. Scaling is not about information. There's enough information out there for anybody to really, if you're looking for information, you could get it for free. You could get information off of AI. You could get information from Google. You could get information from YouTube. So we all can agree that information is out there. If you agree that there's a lot of information out there on training, on systems, on just everything, just type of one in the chat. If you just feel like right now you can type in AI, help me create a training program for my childcare business. Do you feel like that can happen? We got some ones in the chat. If you feel like AI, Google, YouTube, all these places can help you tonight, type a one in the chat, because I'm all for it. I know that I've seen it happen. All right, okay. If you don't, okay, I don't have that many ones, so maybe you are a two. If you are a two and you're like, coach, I hear you, but nah, AI can't give me no training system, or coach, I hear you, but nah, I can't find what I need on YouTube. I can't find what I need on Google. If you're a two, type a two. I just want to see where we are. I want to see the temperature of the room so that I can be sure that I'm talking to the right people. Hey, Tony, Miss Graham, how you doing? All right, so we got a lot of people that believe like, okay, information is already out there. There's a lot of information out there. And so we automatically know that in order to improve our labor force, it is definitely, it is not about AI. It is not about information. When you are improving your labor force, it's about execution. Somebody type that in the chat box tonight, because I don't want us to become a people who's totally dependent on AI, who's totally dependent on information, who's totally dependent on just having information. Just having information does not change a person's skill set. It is having execution. We are in the era of execution. Only those who execute are thriving. Only those who do the work are thriving. Only those who are willing to step out of fear and into going, moving, doing, those are the ones who are thriving. So if you are ready to thrive, if you are ready just to get what you need in order to become a doer, then you are in the right place. One thing about me, and you all know, most of you know me, Mary know me, LaShawn, we got LaShonda, Faith, hey Carlisha, hey, oh, my TikTok family is on with me today. Alexis, you all know me. You've been following me for years. You all know that I'm going to talk to you about systems, but you all know my mindset too. You know that in order for us to really get to where we need to be, we have to become executors. So let me see if somebody gonna chat back with me tonight in the chat box by putting execution in the chat box. So let me tell you how I execute so that you'll understand. For those of you who are new and you haven't gotten to work with me or hear my voice, here are 3 things that I execute, and I execute very well. I'm the best at what I do. Number 1, I help you to create a foundation system. I have a full childcare, what we call modeling school, that is set up to help owners scale. Okay, and so I believe wholeheartedly in making sure that you have a foundation system in place, because if without it, it's hard to scale and it's hard to elevate your team into the realm of execution. It's hard to put a person in a office where there's no systems and then expect them to run your office, right? So in other words, it's hard to get somebody to run your office and execute and do the job if there's no foundation system set up. So the next thing that I do, and I do very well, is I help owners get fully documented. And the way I do that is when I find someone who's an executor, they can log on into my system. They can follow my course week by week. They can go in, edit. They can come back out, have their coaching call. They can go into their center, do the work. They can come back to that coaching call. We can prove that it worked, and then we scale it. So I'm very good at that. I'm the best at that in helping owners to fully document their operations and also to make sure they're interconnected. So I'm a really big believer in that no one should move away from your company, close out your classrooms, close out the building, leave the office without a closeout. All right, so you see this chop, when y'all see me chop like this, that means it's non-negotiable. You all should type that in the chat box, because that's another word that I want you all to really take hold of when you go into your program tomorrow, that there are some non-negotiables. Nobody who I pay top dollar in my facility should leave without a closeout. Is that happening in your program? Do you have your center directors? Do you have your assistant directors? Do you have your lead teachers leaving without doing a closeout? If you've seen that happen, type a 1 in the chat. All right, LaShawn says, we can't be just hearers, we got to be doers. That's right, Leisure, non-negotiable. That's right, Mary, non-negotiable. So Jasmine, hey girl, hey. Jasmine is like, you're right, coach. I have seen it where directors, assistant directors, lead teachers, my closers, whomever, even people in the kitchen, when they leave at that 3 o'clock or that 2 o'clock because childcare hours are over, they got to close out that workspace. They got to close out that environment. And so if they don't do that, then that is what's stopping us from really scaling. So I could give you a lot of information tonight, but the information is not what changed your life alone. What else going to change your life in this season is there's a difference between a lot of people who have the information, but you got to move from information to doing. Now, the other thing that I help you do, and these are only, I do my top 3. These are my top 3. Everything else is, I can do it, but I know what my super girl is growth systems, which we're talking about tonight. I talk a lot about growth systems with my clients who are in three or more childcare programs, and they are wanting to derive to a certain data from their operations. And a lot of times we don't get to where we need to be because we don't have growth systems to form an operation that our team can manage. And sometimes you can't form what you can't measure. Sometimes you can't form what you don't identify as this is something that needs to be measured. So we go through that when it comes to you having the right growth systems in place. All right, so here are the areas that we're going to talk about tonight. And I just want to make sure this is the right room for you. All right, so far we've been talking about becoming an executor, and I just went over 3 top skill sets that I have to help owners execute. Now we are about to get into some techie stuff, so you can snap a picture of what you see here, because these 4 areas, these 4 departments are critical for operations and for scale. These 4 areas include people, policy, technology, tools, data, and knowledge. And we're about to go through all of these tonight because I want to make sure that you write these down, because you should ponder on, where am I when it comes to my roles and responsibilities? Are they written? Am I clear about the task? Have I created a company ascension or career path for myself and for my team? You should be creating a career path for your team. You should be creating an ascension program for your new hires so they can clearly see that there's growth available in this company, no matter how large or how small. There is growth available. So we're going to be going through that tonight. So if you feel like you're in the right room, put a 1 in the chat. And let me say hello to some of our new attendees. And guess what, you all? I am giving out a permission to chat back with me. All right. Hello, Dr. Jefferson. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Londa. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Robin. Oh, look at Robin came back. That's my girl. Hey, Brenda. I seen where you requested to be my friend. Let me go in and accept that friend request. I love it. So good to have everybody on with me tonight. All right, so I did give permission to talk. So please, if you want to engage with us tonight, just raise your hand and I will let you speak. Right now, I think Tania hand is raised. Tania, if you mean to raise your hand, you're welcome to come off mute if you meant to do that. Here we go, everybody. So the first area that I want to make sure that you work on scaling in your company is having the proper organizational structure. So your organizational structure is critical because it determines how large you see your company, how many people you see being able to manage your company. So the first thing I tell everybody, you all might see this slide a little later on, but I always tell everyone to think of your company at 1,000 students. Think of your company at 1,000 students. So typically when you start growing beyond 2 childcare locations and you're about to hit your third, the first and most important hire, whether you're at 2 or 3, is an enrollment specialist. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to organizational structure and you are moving into 2, 3 locations, you have to have that one person whose sole dedication is dedicated to interviewing parents, calling parents, following up with parents, etc. Now, where most owners go wrong is we know that is a hire that we need to have, but we need a back office happening. So we need some work activities happening behind that enrollment specialist role. We need some other roles and responsibilities happening behind that enrollment specialist. And then we have to have a training process in place to ensure that that person that's making my calls, doing my follow-ups, doing my tours, that they are either listening to me or you train them, or they have access to some type of expertise to help them. So like at the School of Systems, I have worked with my clients and their team. And the reason being is because training and development is essential for your team to be able to execute on a higher level. All right, and then I'm a big believer in level 5 teacher training. Level 5 teacher training, it really helps you to improve your labor force training KPI. And so what happens is, and let's be honest, okay, how many of you have your training program written? Let's just start with that. Let's see what the baseline is. If you do, type of 1. If you do not, type of 2. Okay, so we do. Okay, Sabrina, yes. Okay, so Sabrina, this is for you. When you need to have your own training system in place, it is so that you can train your new hire from beginning to end, because the national training completion rate is 100%. But what happens is, I'm guilty, you're guilty, she's guilty, he's guilty, guilty. We all are guilty of not having everyone on our team 100% trained. And when that happens, let's be honest again. How many of us have noticed when someone is not 100% trained, it does not work in the end? They either don't perform on the level we want. If this is recognizable to you, you can type a 3. They either don't perform on the level that we need them to. They burn out too fast. Have y'all seen that happen? What happens when your team doesn't go through the training 100%? All right, somebody tell me some results that you've seen. While you guys are talking about that, this is a strong way of improving your scalability by having the right people. Yes, Mary. Mary said they lean on me. Jasmine said the expectations are never met. So what happens is, to be honest, we got to go back, look at your training program, and to ensure that it's in increments. All right. So when you hire a person, set realistic training goals. Make sure that is obtainable. Make sure that you set it in increments, what they should know in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and make it visible. And also have physical representation of their achievement as they move throughout your Ascension program. So that's number 1. If you don't take away nothing from today's call, take away exactly what I'm saying to you tonight. Be sure to have your training program set up in increments so that you will be able to build confidence over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, etc. When it comes to top performers like your directors and your assistant directors, or even like we were talking about, someone working on your enrollment, there should be day 1. This is what happens during your first 90 days. And there should be what happens day 1 what happens week 1, what happens week 2, what happens week 3. And that is because their role is so specific. We can't leave it up to a broad 30-day training. No, this is what you should train on day 1, because they're not in the classrooms, and we have to make sure that their level of productivity is on a different scale than someone in the classroom dealing with interruptions, personalities, etc. So moving on, let me know if you got it. Do you all feel like you should have just a separate class on that? All right. So number 2, in order to make sure that you have a scalable model, I think so too. LaShonda, thank you for advising us on that. All right, number 2, you want to make sure that you have policy and process to match. So there are several policies you all may live by. For example, you should have a policy for diaper changing. You should have a policy for hand washing. You should have a policy for table time. You should have a policy for morning arrivals. You should have policies around these different intervals of time, right? However, not only do you have a policy, but don't give a person all the do's and don'ts without giving them the process. So you got to give them the process of why this policy is done. So you have a few policies that are customer facing processes, where they are in front of your customer, they're dealing hands-on with your customer. You have some policies that are what we call back office, meaning operational, and that operational has a lot to do with infrastructure. So for example, in order for you to really execute marketing, you got to have some infrastructure in the back office, like a website. And then your website should be connected to a form. And that form should take that person data, and that data should be connected to a text or an email system. You understand what I'm saying now? In order for you to become an executor, you got to make sure that you have the right processes that support your operation. For example, if you have an operation that is built off of your phones don't ring but 2 times before somebody answers, don't have that as a policy of how you operate, but then you don't have nobody at the desk. The phone will ring 2 times and it will be missed because you don't have somebody that you have sitting at the desk the whole workday, or you don't have a way for that person to have that number come to their phone and answer it. You got to have the infrastructure that support your policy. And then there has to be some documented procedures. Now, let me tell you where you owners are thinking wrong. You're thinking wrong that a manual is for the team. No, a manual is so that when you are training, you're not coming off the top of your head with the training. You are going to your manual, pulling your manual out and presenting before your team, giving them what we call reproducible step-by-step processes. And then the next thing that you need is you need tools. So here at the School of Systems, we provide our owners with the training tool. And at the time, I didn't know what I was creating was a training tool. All I knew was I got tired of repeating myself. And I needed for them to be able to do this without me, because I had started other streams of income, traveling the world, and just being my outgoing self that I am. So I said, okay, let me create what we call a process. And my meeting process is the same process I want for my directors to follow. I will follow, and anyone working in the capacity of leading this team, they will follow. So we created what we call the staff quarterly agenda. It matches the classroom, it matches the processes, it matches our expectations, it matches my training system, it matches my curriculum, it matches my classroom setup. You hear what I'm telling you? I got the whole tool that support the classroom. If you get it, type a 1 in the chat, because you need your own tools and you need your own job aids. This is how you're going to scale. You can't scale with a little bit of Andrea and a little bit of North Side and a little bit of South Side and a little bit of East Side. You need to have either all-in-one systems or not, or you need to create them. You got to have, I was going to say nothing, but you need something. You can't have all of these things just happening because it's frustrating and it causes frustration. You have no clear direction. You need an all-in-one system so that you can have job aids, tools, infrastructure, operation, policies, and back office. All right, so then the next one is, in order to scale, you got to be careful about being absent-minded when it comes to your program. When it comes to your program, someone should be giving you metrics. Okay. Now, I'm not saying someone should be giving you metrics because that's the wrong words to say. I apologize. Someone should be following your closeout so that you can have the right data, and then you can calculate that data and understand how to forecast using that data, and also understand if this data lets me know if my company is moving forward. So metrics is something that I didn't come up with. It's something that I just had this inclination, this divine instinct, like I just shouldn't be operating this business like this without having a reason or a rhyme or reason behind it. So then that's when I started studying. Like many of you that's on tonight, I just started studying like, what does it really mean to have key performance indicators? What should I be tracking? So every year you want to do what we call a state of the union, like the president do for the United States, but we call it the state of our center. So the state of Akiba, the state of LaShonda's childcare program, the state of Mary's childcare program, whatever the name is, you should call it the state of. Now there are a few data particulars that you want to collect. Number one, you want to take a look at your rules and regulations and determine what's important to your rules and regulations that is of high or critical performance. For us, health and safety was top. It was number one. I had issues before I had processes, and some of those issues caused me to have a not met on my report. So I started looking at where were we in the only thing that graded me at the time. The only thing that graded me at the time was my licensing reports. Y'all get where I'm going? You go one. If you get where I'm going, type of one. Okay, somebody else? Okay. I'm talking about how to scale. Now, the only thing that really graded me was my licensing report, because I could have a wonderful financial week, but then the state will pop in and say we got a surprise visit, or it's time for your licensing renewal. She'll walk back there and something that was high and critical would be not met on my report. So it wasn't money, and that's what I want you all to understand. Money is a small snippet of an indicator. It has its place, okay? Because you can have the most excellent running childcare program, but if you don't, market, and you don't have money coming in, then we're not getting the word out about how good you are. So it does play a part. But once I got that report, I started looking at what they were grading me on. They were grading me on health and safety. They were grading me on my teacher education and qualifications. They were grading me on hand washing and hygiene. So now all of those baseline, because the state look for you to have is what we call baseline. All of those baseline criteria became a baseline criteria in my training program. So my training program dealt with the licensing report. So then I said, okay, you have to meet or exceed these rules and regs that's on my report. So I didn't have to come up with my own metrics because my report from the state helped me to create that. So then when a person did their closeout and they did not follow my closeout, because my closeout is not a checklist that you check. You need a closeout that's beyond the check, check, check. You need a closeout that will give you data. Somebody type in data. Yes, Joyce, an unannounced visit. Somebody type in data if you understand that your checklist is to give you the data you need. The data that checklist is giving you is how well they are able to perform at the baseline of the met and not met of this report. If this is good, let me know. So then once I set it as the baseline, that was my metrics. And my closeout, my classroom closeout, that was my reporting. Okay, my classroom closeout can save you in times of unannounced visits. Your classroom reports can save you during the time of, they call them complaints. When you have parents complain, your reports can save you in that. I had parents complain. I would have parents complain about parents calling and said that it was too many kids in the room. Well, when we go to our attendance, my attendance was my report, and it would show who signed in and who signed out. So this is why having reports is so important. And then you have to have what we call knowledge content. So this is why everybody's saying go digital. But in order for you to go digital, you have to have it written, not in handwriting like this, but I'm talking about using a drive, using a digital system where you can store your knowledge, because that's knowledge content. In order to scale, you got to have that. If you want to have operational improvement in your team performance, then you have to be able to track that. So when they do their closeouts, don't just let it sit on your desk. Don't just let it be an optional report. No, you got to become laser focused that this this closeout report has the data you need in order to scale. It has the data you need in order to improve. See, sometimes you have to get your systems into what we call maintenance mode. Maintenance mode means I'm in my thank you so much, Dr. Jefferson. Let me read her note, y'all. She said you're a bad girl. Caught my whole attention. Threw me right on off. Hold on, girl. Don't hype me up, girl. Don't hype me up. Okay, Dr. Jefferson said, yes, coach, you are so smart. The systems you helped us out in place align with our state and accreditation. Yes, I will tell you this. My client, Nicole, she followed just like 50% of the classroom foundation before it was time for her NACE accreditation, and passed NACE accreditation like at 91.6 something percent. For me, that's huge because that's like only like 9 points away from 100%. For me, that was big because of the school of systems. And then you got right here in the webinar chat, you guys probably can't see her, but Dr. Jefferson just put in the webinar chat, she says, the system helped us out in aligning with their state and accreditation. She had an interim and renewal within 2 weeks, passed both with no findings. She said, you a bad girl. I receive it. You a bad girl too, because you lead a lot. And to be able to follow the school of systems and implement the school of systems in a program that's currently operating, oh, you a bad girl. I see a lot of people, they get overwhelmed, they get frustrated, and they give up because their vision got to be on scale. Your vision got to be on scale. It cannot be on operating the way you once were. A lot of times people say, well, that's not how we do it. Well, are you planning on having 4 and 5 locations? If so, this is what you should do. All right. And so the next thing is you got to have a way to manage that data. So you got to have those meetings. You got to sit down with your coach. You got to sit down with a high level conversationist so that you all can have the understanding of how to take this data and use it to improve my operations. Because over time, you know what your checklist should tell you? I'm about to switch off this slide. But first, before I switch, please tell me what your checklist, what you think your classroom checklist should give you as far as data. Like, what should it be telling you? Somebody write in the chat. Or you can unmute your phone. What do you think your checklist should speak back to you? Operational performance. Okay, that's so good. I ain't gonna say yes or no yet. I want to hear from a lot of you guys. Come on. Let me see your baseline. Let me see where you are. Have all end of the day been performed? Okay. Anybody else? So I'm gonna give it 2 more seconds. Let me say hello to all our new people that's coming on. Hey, Cherry. Oh, hey, girl. So good to have you on. Hey, Joyce. Hey, Kanisha. Good to have you on. Hi, Teresa. Hello, Vanessa. Good to have you all on. Okay, so listen, let me see. Do you need help with anything? Classroom roster update, attendance. All right, so you all are not thinking correctly. You're not thinking correctly. You are not thinking correctly. And that is why you haven't scaled. So write this down and hear me good. Your checklist is to determine the skill set of your labor force. This is why you use checklists, because at the end of the day, hi, Vanessa, at the end of the day, somebody got to go in their room and make it right. So I'm not looking at if you got it done, because somebody got to get it done. But at the end of the day, what is your skill set level? I need to know. Like, I know I hired you and you told me you could do a good job. However, where do you need more training? Where is your skill set? What is it that I can do to improve your skill set? And are you interested in improving your skill set? I had to say it that way because I bet y'all was listening to me then. Y'all was like, what? I know she ain't talking to me like that. Yes, I did. You a big girl. I'm a big girl. We got to have big girl conversations. You're not looking at your classroom checklist right. So that's why you're not checking them or requiring it to become a part of your reporting process. Am I in the house? Am I in the house? Am I talking to you? Alexis. Am I talking, girl? LaShonda. Am I talking? Because Shonda, you've been knowing me for years. So you can tell me the truth. I listen. Joyce was like, yes. Mary was like, yes. Robin was like, thumbs up. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to the next one. So let's talk about your employee reporting systems. So you need some systems that you can utilize in order for you to house this data. And many of you, you don't do nothing with the checklist. You don't even have what we call in the School of Systems a storage process. You should have a storage process for your classroom checklist. As the CEO, if you don't have an electronic reporting platform, then that means that you should have a storage system, a storage binder where you are utilizing that data for your conversation with your team. So look, let's go along in this journey with me. Monday, you come in, you get data. Tuesday, you come in, you get data. Wednesday, you come in, you get data. On Wednesday, you look at all of the reports that came in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You look at all those reports Wednesday night. You go ahead and let your team know. It should be on your operating calendar that on every Friday, I have a team meeting. So Friday, when you come in, what you meeting about? You meeting about the data that came to you on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, because I'm not trying to keep giving you new information. All I'm trying to do is to make sure you get good at what we're doing. You get good at the basic. This is why you can't scale, because you got to make sure your team is getting good at the basic. Let me know if you got me. So you need your own reporting process, your own reporting platform. All right. So your ERP, employer reporting platform. You got to have a way to house that data. Then you got to use AI. All right. You have to have intelligent automation. So with us at the School of Systems, we call those workflows. Some of you all have never really sat down and did a workflow. So you don't know what comes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and therefore you don't have it broken down where you can train a person on what they need to know step one. So like, let's go back to who we were talking about, an enrollment specialist. Well, before your enrollment specialist come on the scene, there has to be marketing. Somebody got to be marketing. So when they're at the desk, the enrollments are coming in, the tours are coming in, the calls are coming in. You understand what I'm telling you? So if you don't have it where you understand workflows, you're going to think that the director's supposed to do your marketing. You're going to think that the director ain't doing her job because it's nobody coming in and enroll. And at the end of the day, you didn't do any marketing. You didn't have anybody out there marketing. All right, so vendor technologies. A lot of you all use vendor technologies, and I think that's important for you to recognize that you can't just invest in something and not go deeper into it. As a CEO, if you don't have anyone in your organization that's that tech person, that's that AI person who's reading these softwares, who's understanding this technology, then hire you a VA who does. Hire you a VA who understands ProCare. Hire you a VA who understands Line Leader, because what you want to do is you want to take what you intuitively know you want to do, or you want to take what you're learning from your coach or you're learning through your programs, and you want to hire somebody that can do it for you if you cannot. Then you want to make sure that there's some back office application systems that's happening. Back office application systems mean a person can go online to your website and they can either apply to become a part of your organization, apply to become a parent, apply for your employer program. You should have employers going to your website so that you can start building additional streams of income. Then you need self-service. Self-service means a person can have a whole interview with you from home. A person can come into your school and sit to their workstation and go through the full training without the CEO having to go out and do any training, or without the director having to stop to do the training. They should be able to sit and do that. Or your current teachers, they should be able to scan, sit, log in, all of that like you do at Walmart. How you check yourself out at Walmart, you should have some training self-service systems in your program. And so in order for you to accomplish all of those things, don't forget to think like 100 students. Now, were there any "ooh, that's good" moments from today's training, or any questions so far? You can unmute your phone. So Joyce, come on, Joyce, break it down for me. Give me at least one. My team is gonna be like, my team will come through this, guys, and they'll look and they'll be like, well, because we try to remarket this stuff, right? So we got to give them something to work with. Tell me a little bit about what you thought so far. Give me some feedback. Did you learn something? Do you feel like this is applicable? I guess y'all notice, like, I am so comfortable with people expressing themselves to pulling it out of y'all. I'm having a pull. Come on, Alexis, talk to me. Come on, LaShonda, talk to me. Come on, LaShawn Talbert, Lady Cocoa. Oh, we got somebody in the chat box. All right. Ta-da! And the winner is Joy. Okay, let me see what Joyce says. Okay, first of all, LaShawn says in all caps, do you mean 1,000 students? Yes, girl. Let's just say your tuition rate, let's do the numbers. Let's just say your tuition rate is 250 times 1,000 students equal $250,000 a week. Let's just say, how many centers do I need for 1,000 students? Well, my formula is, when you are scaling, and it's just in certain areas, okay? Sometimes you up north and you can't just buy buildings and move into buildings that's where you can have 100 plus students. But as a rule of thumb, I tell a person, when you scale, don't scale down. Don't buy another center that's smaller than where you are. Always scale up, right? So for me, my baseline is 150 students. So whenever Andrea Dickerson purchased any real estate for childcare, I looked at, can I have 150 students here? And it is so worth the investment, because once you get 150 students, you can work anywhere from 8 to 10 locations. And I'm telling you, 10 is easier than 1, trust me, because you'll have the right infrastructure in place. But now you generate in $1 million a month, $250,000 a week. Women, $1 million a month. And at $1 million a month, who you can't hire? At $1 million a month, who you can't pay? Nobody gave me no feedback. No, nobody even was like, nobody even did anything for me. Y'all should be giving me like, okay. All right. So, and Dr. Jefferson said, okay. So that's how you got to move with that. All right. So Joyce says the classroom checklist is what I need more information on. What should I have on this checklist? Well, I believe that the checklist should be built around your foundation. So we'll first have to ask you, what's your foundation system? And that's going to be the answer for that. Mary says she learned more about checklists to be used as data. Yes. When I decided to really scale and do it with what makes sense, strategy. So for me, scaling is not just I got 10 locations, but it's my strategy. So my strategy was, I want to generate 8 figures. I want to generate 9 figures. And so 9 figures, $100 million, 8 figures, $50 million, 7 figures, $7 million, $9 million. So when you start thinking about scale, millions come into your mind, millions come into your thoughts. And so sometimes we don't really sit down and think like, wait a minute, I'm good at what I do. How can I get paid millions of dollars for what I do? I was good at circle time. I mean, I was the baddest circle time. Ask them children. Them babies love my circle time. Hey, they love my circle time. They be running and don't want to go home because I got the best circle time. But guess what started happening? I started thinking, how can I make $1 million from this circle time? How can I make $1 million+ from what I do? So when you start thinking like that, you like do the numbers. Here are some of the processes that I always give you all during the training so that you can write them down. Like you need processes. Your system is what you have to have in place to run your program. So for instance, you need a kitchen system, you need a classroom system, you need a office system, you need a director system, right? Because those are the components that run your program. But within that system, there are certain processes, right? So here are my processes. Here is 1 through, you can snap a picture of this, 1 through 50, okay? And here is 51 through 100. Here is 101 through 150. Here is 151 through 190. See right here, administrator enrollment responsibility. So when you know that you're going to be hiring someone who has the responsibility of enrollment, there should be a whole task list, what their responsibilities are, so that there's no, oh, I thought she was doing it, or I thought they were doing it. So if you don't have those things, then you really are the reason why I'm here tonight. I'm here to give you this information to help you scale. And I think when I gave you up to what? 217. So snap this picture. Alexis, I can't believe, girl, you ain't saying nothing to me tonight. What I did? What? Why? All right. With all those processes, let me get my drink. With all those processes, you can have all of these processes, but don't forget, don't take mindset of information. Take on the mindset of execution. And the easiest way to execute is to have a framework. So when I train you, I'm going to train you on a 4-step framework. And in my 4-step framework, I'm going to tell you everything you do for step 1 under the plan, everything you do under the create, everything you do under the launch, everything you do under the scale. But I'm not asking you to skip. No, follow the framework, because you can have all the processes you want. How many of you all have been on this training before? How many of you all got those same pictures in your phone that I just told you to take a picture of, and they still been in your phone, and you done been here, there, everywhere? And the reason being is because you are searching for something to execute, but the execution is going to come from a framework. It's going to come from you following a framework. Yep, just like this is my first. Come on, it's the follow through. So Lakeisha was on. She was like, oh my God, that's me, coach. Yep. So one thing about frameworks is that you can have a lot of problems going on, and you can also have SOPs. But if you don't implement them, if you don't hold people accountable, if you don't make it a part of your daily operation, then you won't be taking it serious. And I think that's what Keisha was. Keisha was like, you know, I done been in coach program. I think she's been in my program like 2 times. Most of my clients will stay with me for about 3 to 4 years to really apply what they are learning, right? And she was in this program. Mary said, I'm guilty. Come on back, Mary. She was in the program, but she didn't take it seriously, because I'm gonna say this is the work that you have to do. And a lot of times people don't want to do the work. And I'm not saying she didn't, but she finally buckled down and said, I'm gonna do the work. So she successfully addressed those issues. She said in her testimony that she got 5 teachers now who were doing the things that she asked them to do. And I recently told her, okay, now that you've trained your team, now we got to scale you. We got to scale you as a brand. We got to scale your organization. So Dr. Jefferson says some of us are here because we always get some new nuggets. Yes, I just love hearing you speak about 8+ figures. We already got our systems together. Your webinars just feed my soul. I absolutely love it. Thank you for showing up for the soul feeding. I love that, because you got to stay enriched. You got to stay connected to what you're working towards, what you're doing. And a lot of times when people don't constantly hear or constantly feed themselves, then they go astray, so to speak. Same thing with your team. Your team needs to have those quarterly meetings with you, so they are constantly hearing from you. They are constantly having you go over the system. This is why I'm going through this same webinar. How many of you all have seen this same webinar? Just like Dr. Jefferson, it feeds my soul. She go back in on Monday, she ready, because she's been on these these trainings. Same with you. Train your team. Go before your team. And you could do a webinar just like this. You could do a presentation just like this. This is how you scale. Somebody type in scale. Our foundation system is your strategy. It's what owners put in place. The biggest you got to solve is you cannot not know the names of your centers. That is baseline for CEO responsibilities. When you are a CEO, you want to know what centers make up your classrooms. When you know what centers make up your classroom, now you are empowered because you can tell a person, this is how we set up the reading, this is how we set up the math, this is how we set these things up. Robin says, I'm training my new infant teacher and I'm implementing what you taught. Thanks. Awesome. All right. For those of you who need a foundation system, I'm giving this out. I'll have my assistant to send this out to you all. I think it's a great tool. We're honestly, in a few weeks, we're about to launch it in our digital classroom system program. We're going to launch that. For those of you who want to have our classroom systems, it's in a digital format where you can just listen and train from me at home via video, pre-recorded video, and these workbooks. So you'll get like the training on how to use this workbook, etc. We've updated the workbook. Dr. Jefferson says, our new team love framework systems. They say, I've never seen this before. And she's like, we know. Yes. I love those. I love the way that your team grab a hold of it because it is exclusive. I have made up my mind, like I don't work with a lot of people. I work with the right people who are moving in the right direction. And you either have to take an invite like this. So like if I invite you to do something, you take action. If not, you're not going to find a way on how to do it online. Like you can't get into the school of systems. You can't just go in and be like, oh, let me pay coach and get in. You used to could do that with the blueprint. But now it's like, I got to talk to you. Or once somebody in the school of systems, they got to say, hey, go to Coach Andrea and tell them so-and-so sent you. Tell them Dr. Jefferson sent you. The only way you could get into the school of systems, because we got something so powerful, it works. We don't have the wrong mastermind. We want to curate the people that are really making it happen and getting it done in their business. 3, 4, 5 locations. Like my clients got 4, 5 locations and growing. All right, so now let me see what time it is, guys. Okay, I really got deep into tonight's training. And I'm going to finish this out with asking you all to take a snapshot of this process, because this is step 1 through 3. And then this is step 4 through 6. You are going to need these steps. You understand I just gave you 217 processes, right? If you go through those processes and you want to implement any of those processes, you're going to implement them using this roadmap, okay? So you're going to take a picture of this so that you can implement this on the roadmap. And that is going to be it for me tonight. I typically want for everybody to come out to the School of Systems. We have an event coming up this November the 5th. November the 7th. And can you back up to the first one? Yes, I'll back up for you. Make sure you guys snap. So we have an event coming out so that you can physically come to the School of Systems where we teach you how to scale. We're going to be presenting that soon. If you found this information to be helpful to you tonight, you can definitely inbox me. You can DM me. You can go to workwithcoachandrea.com. You can book a link where I can, you can click the link and book where I can have a one-on-one with you and help you decide which part of our programs you want to be involved in. If you're ready to make an investment, or if you're ready to come to the physical School of Systems, you can bring your team. So you can be like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I need you all to know. And this year we've added more of how to really take the data that's coming through the documents and how to really process that data and what does that mean. So it's really a lot of thought put into for what's happening on November the 7th, which is a Friday, and November the 8th, which is a Saturday. And we're inviting the public on November the 8th. And so you all just stay posted. If you see me talking about the schoolofchildcare.com, then that's your ticket to say, hey, let me go get my ticket. Let me get involved. But that is it for me tonight. I'm open to any questions. I'm open to any of your feedback. Somebody says, may I have your Facebook page, please? Somebody says, put the link in the chat. Okay, let me put this link, www.theschoolofchildcare.com, and you can look and see where we got something coming up in November. Okay, I hope that went out to everybody. If you're interested in coming to that event, or if you're wanting to just find out how you can work, you may not be able to travel in November, you could go to www.workwithcoachandrea.com. All right, any more questions? What do you feel you're capable of walking away with and doing tonight?
Miss Andrea Robin, I had a question. Do you? It's a thing you have.
Hold on, it
And
might be.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that was my phone. I couldn't hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, you have a booklet I'm trying to get, and I can't get the name of it now. I'm on the phone. I can't go upstairs, run up and down the stairs. But I've been to your page, and every time I try to click on it, it won't allow me to get in. I'll find a way. I don't know if you have an email address where I can go in and email you and tell you about it. But every time I try to click and go in to do it, it won't let me click on it or to buy it. And I'm like, why? It's a book I need and I really want, but it's hard. I think it's something with the systems or something like that. I have to look it up because I wrote it down and I took a picture of it. But it's I need that book. It's a book you have I really, really need.
Okay. So what I did was I just put my email in the chat. Thank you for letting me know. And I'm glad you let me know so we could go in the back office and take care of that. Okay. Any other questions? Thoughts? Thank you, LaShawn. Well, I have enjoyed chit-chatting with my girls tonight. Let me shout out my girls one more time. Thank you, LaShawn, for coming on. Thank you, Dr. Jefferson, for coming on. Thank you, LaShonda, for coming on. Let me see who's on with me tonight. I got to shout y'all out. Thank you, Mary, for coming on. Thank you, Cherie, for coming on. Hey, thank you to all my girls for supporting me tonight and coming on. Thank you, LaShonda Frazier. Thank you, Londa, my partner. Somebody saying something? Michelle Anderson. Oh my God, that's all my old school friend.
I'm in the class. Hold on.
Well, Joyce, I'm in the class. Hold on, Joyce, you off mute. Hey, Michelle. How you doing, love? So it's going. Somebody, coach. So you can go to theschoolofchildcare.com, and it's going to be for November 8th. Oh, and thank you to my girl Jasmine for coming on tonight. Like all my oldies but goodies on. Oh, y'all know what time it is. I prayed that today. I always pray for all my oldies and goodies. I've been praying that they will show up and come back in alignment with the Eye on the Daycare brand. And y'all show up tonight. That is the fruit of prayer. Change things. Yes. Faith says, I'm in the initial stages. When are you still growing your school? Don't have the ability to hire all those staff and departments. How do you manage all of those processes? Well, one thing about it, Faith, is that you won't understand how to delegate if you don't go in and execute. So there has to be level one, okay? Level one are the processes that get the job done, okay? Assuming you're having to be the one to do that. So there are some level one tasks that you have to do because you don't have anyone else in those roles. So you still have to go through execution. Like you cannot not do it because nobody's there. And that's going to help build your productivity as a CEO. That's going to help make you better. Like what helped me to become better because I had to figure out like, how do I keep myself out these classrooms? And that's when I had to do what I had to do. I had to hire people, and I had to figure out how to create my budgets. And then I had to figure out how to ask parents for the price that they should pay so that I can really get the income coming in. And so I just couldn't make no reason on why I couldn't do something. And whenever you're in a place where there are no teachers and you just don't know what else to do, you try to still keep yourself out the room by combining rooms, working on schedules. And there's so many other alternatives that you can do, but you definitely got to get in there and get the baseline done. It's okay. Like, for example, this is why, we created the learning systems. Yeah. What is it? Learning Made Easy. This is why we created the Learning Made Easy curriculum, because I was going through teachers and I couldn't keep the curriculum consistent, right? I go in the classroom, we should be on letter D. The teacher still got the letter A on the wall. So it let me know, like, I'm not closing out. They're not doing their job because we got this mindset we short of help. No, it's not we short of help. I'm just giving y'all that as an example. It's not really real life. I'm just trying to show you, like, you really got to have what we call a baseline of these are some non-negotiables that get done in my company no matter what. I don't know if they helped you or not, but in the initial stage, you got to plan for who you're gonna hire, and you got to market like you got the money to hire them, because you gotta understand. This is what I need everybody to understand. You're not gonna find your answer in your first go round. You're gonna go through some rounds, so you might as well market. You might as well interview. You might as well do all of that. You already got it. Like, it's already about to happen. You got to start operating just like it's already about to happen, because if you wait for the money to show up, if you wait for the kids to show up, let me tell you what else you're going to do. You're going to say, I can't enroll until I get somebody. Then you're going to start looking for somebody, and then the enrollment going to go up the street. So you have to act like you already got it. Everybody understand me? You understand what I'm saying? If you know you're going to move into your next level, don't wait until you move into your next level to start looking for center directors. You start looking now because it's already hit your mind, and you're not going to find what you need on the first go round. You got to keep going. Kanisha said, facts. She said, facts, coach. So you got to start moving like that. There is no waiting in childcare. You got to get out there and you got to keep evolving. You know what, LaShawn? Now I know who you are. Oh my gosh. You had to say first ladies for me to know who you are. Hey, LaShawn. Hallelujah. Okay. Anybody else? So, Faith, by now you should have what we call a staffing plan. So I know I just told you to move by faith, but you got to move with a staffing plan. So this is like the critical thinking process of your schedule. So right now, and let me just use my spiritual gift. Right now, you got staff on your team that you don't even want on your team. You're really keeping them on your team to keep it together until you find the right person. So because you know you are in dire need of the right person, you got to do what we call a staffing plan. And the staffing plan is in the School of Systems. And what that does is that gives you an overview of who you need at what time of the day. So you got to stop here. Here I go again. Now, I don't know you. I don't know your situation, but I'm going to tell you, you cannot keep allowing people to create their own schedule. You got to make sure that the people that work for you fit into your schedule. This is why you have to do a staffing plan, so that in your mind you already got it cleared. How many people I need opening, these the hours they need to work, this is how many floaters. You got to visualize and plan out what it looks like for at full capacity. You don't look at where you are right now in the day-to-day, because that'll throw you off as a CEO. You get the staffing plan so that you can plan your business at full capacity. You can plan your business at half capacity, so that you can see what staffing looks like when I'm at full and what staffing looks like when I'm at half capacity. And you can use any metric. You can say, what would staffing look like at 75% of my enrollment? What would staffing look like at 30% of my enrollment? So you got to really sit down and do that staffing plan. And when you do that staffing plan, what that is going to do is to give you clarity about how to move. Oh, what she said, Faith said, facts. I'm all in your business, girl. Mary says, again, I'm guilty. Keeping around until I find another person. This is why we got to always be hiring. This is why we always got to be interviewing. You always interview. As a CEO, you don't wait until the position becomes available. You are always interviewing. We are always seeking the best candidate. We are always looking. All right, everybody. I think that no, there's no more questions in the chat box. So y'all good? Well, as always, let me make sure. I just like to hold my chat for a minute just before I close out, just to make sure that there's no more other questions. All right, going once. 5, 4. Teresa raised her hand. Let's see what Teresa's saying. Let me find you, Teresa. I think you can talk. Okay, allow to talk. Go ahead, Teresa. You can talk.
Hi, I don't have a question about what you're saying, but I haven't spoken to you in a while, and I was wondering if you can call me after this. I really need to speak to you.
So, I'm not sure who you are, Teresa. I'm so sorry. If it's
I know we talked a while ago. I'm in Connecticut.
okay. And so what is we do go to workwithcoachandrea.com because
Okay,
we follow processes. And then you will go to the where you can book a call and then
okay,
you get on my schedule and then we'll discuss further after you look at my availability. We'll go through
okay,
whatever questions you may have. So thank you again.
okay.
All
No
right.
problem.
I look forward to talking with you.
Alrighty.
Kanisha said, thank you for making things plain. You are so welcome. All right. Any more questions? 5, 4, 3. Y'all know I love questions. 2, 1. Well, as always, remember, if you manage the childcare business that you love, you will love the childcare business that you manage. Bye, you guys.